In the quiet, unassuming town of Hillsbrook, whispers of the grand and mysterious Everwood Mansion were part of daily life. Beneath its dust-laden windows and ivy-cloaked walls, the house exuded an air of secrecy that drew both fascination and unease from anyone who walked by. For the neighborhood children, especially Michael, Emma, and Lucas, the mansion stood as an unspoken invitation to adventure, a place where stories of hidden treasures and eerie sightings blurred the line between legend and truth. Grown-ups would often murmur cautionary tales behind closed doors, warning of dark events best left in the shadows, planting a seed of curiosity that grew with each new generation. Yet amidst the monotony of summer vacation, the mansion's secrets became a temptation too strong to resist. Driven by a mix of youthful daring and the longing to prove themselves, Michael, Emma, and Lucas set out one morning, the sunlight seeming to guide them as they slipped through the rusty gates. Approaching Everwood Mansion, excitement and apprehension mingled within the small group. The gates groan was the house's first reluctant welcome, and the once splendid garden was now a wild maze of tangled branches and waist-high grass. The outside world faded as they stepped closer, heartbeats quickening in sync with the crunch of gravel beneath their feet. Warnings about the dangers lurking inside had colored their childhood, but for these three, the old house promised a chance at bravery, a story worthy of the novels they cherished. What awaited them within those silent, shadow-filled walls was unimaginable. Flashlights gripped tight and vowing not to separate, the friends crossed the threshold, embarking on a journey that would forever change not just how they saw the world, but also how they saw themselves. Stepping into the wide main hall of Everwood Mansion, Michael, Emma, and Lucas felt a strange chill run down their spines. Floorboards groaned underfoot, echoing throughout the almost supernatural silence that filled the space. Sunlight seeped through dusty, stained glass windows, painting colorful patterns across a thick layer of dust on the floor. Every corner seemed to harbor a new secret, and Emma's curious gaze searched for hidden details among the grand paintings and gold-framed mirrors now veiled in web. Lucas, ever the brave one, took the lead with a pocket flashlight and an eager grin. Michael brought up the rear, keeping a keen ear out for anything unusual lurking in the shadows. The air was thick with anticipation, and there was an unspoken respect for whatever they might discover there. Their first discoveries came quickly. In a forgotten sitting room, the trio found ancient furniture draped in white sheets, standing like still ghosts amidst the disorder. Black and white photos of a smiling family rested above the fireplace, seemingly untouched by time. Emma, always attentive to details, picked up one of these photos, trying to imagine who those people were, where they came from, what dreams they once chased. Lucas nudged a faded armchair, sending a cloud of dust into the air, which made all three sneeze, brief laughter easing some of the tension. The children whispered theories of hidden treasures and secret passageways. Calmer now, Michael suggested they explore the hallway, connecting the sitting room to the rest of the house. With each cautious step, the spirit of adventure edged out the lingering fear of the unknown. As they wandered down shadowy corridors, the sensation of being suspended outside of time deepened. The broad walls, lined with faded wallpaper and old paintings, seemed to observe their every move. Silence pressed in so tightly that even a racing heartbeat sounded too loud. Clutching their flashlights, the three passed locked doors and heard the echoes of their nervous giggles bouncing through long, empty rooms. Emma noticed a spiral staircase leading up to the attic, her eyes sparkling with excitement as she suggested a climb. The group wavered before the thick darkness that swallowed the upper steps, but curiosity prevailed. Each creaking step up the staircase seemed to announce the weight of their decision. The attic felt like a world apart. Locked away for countless years, it held dust-covered trunks, hardcover books with gold lettering, and old toys that seemed to belong in storybooks. The air was thick with the scent of old paper and ancient wood. Lucas was first to pry open a trunk, revealing yellowed letters and tiny glass trinkets that glimmered in the flashlight beams. Michael found a small music box, still working, that filled the space with a soft, melancholic melody, painting the attic in bittersweet nostalgia. Emma uncovered a blue-covered diary, delicate pages handwritten with neat penmanship. It was as if the past was finally ready to reveal its story. Among cobwebs and keepsakes, the friends realized they were holding not just objects, but memories. Reading aloud from the diary, Emma unraveled tales of joy and heartache lived by a young girl named Margaret, daughter of the mansion's original family. The pages spoke of lavish parties, games in the gardens, and secrets whispered under the stars. But as she read on, the stories turned to sorrow and loneliness, especially after a mysterious disappearance many years ago. Deeply moved, the trio understood that this house was more than a place of fear and curiosity. It was a vessel for powerful human fragments of life. For the first time, they felt a real connection to the long-gone residents, sensing that dreams and worries unite people across generations. The attic's discoveries would be only the beginning of what Everwood Mansion still had to teach them. After absorbing the revelations from Margaret's diary, Michael, Emma, and Lucas felt determined to explore the remaining floors of the mansion, now moved by a newfound respect for the memories sheltered within. The trio carefully descended from the attic and made their way along the second-floor hallway, where half-open doors revealed glimpses of once luxurious bedrooms, now claimed by layers of dust. Inside one of these rooms, Emma found an old closet filled with hand-embroidered dresses, most wrapped in crumpled tissue paper. It was impossible not to imagine the parties these garments had attended, or the secret hopes stitched into every sleeve. Michael dragged a small box out from beneath a vanity. Inside were love letters exchanged between Margaret and someone named Charles, written nearly a century ago. Lucas, always attentive to detail, noticed marks on the floor, as if a piece of furniture had been moved recently, despite the house's long abandonment. These findings prompted more questions. Who was Charles? What had become of Margaret and her family? Why were so many private items left behind, as if waiting to be discovered? With each new clue, the children felt the story pulling them in, turning their investigation into a personal mission. They treated the diary entries like puzzle pieces, trying to connect events and emotions to the artifacts scattered around. Michael suggested searching for more letters and notes, convinced that the answer to the diary's mysterious disappearance was close at hand. Anticipation and camaraderie grew. They were no longer just explorers, but guardians of forgotten secrets. Returning downstairs, Lucas heard a sound coming from the mansion's library, a room legendary among the neighborhood for always being locked in local tale. Driven by curiosity, they pushed open the heavy wooden door, the old hinges protesting. Inside, they found a universe of knowledge, bookshelves crammed with rare volumes, faded maps, and a massive fireplace that had seen countless winters. Emma brushed dust from a large, leather-bound book from which a loose sheet tumbled. Something important, they sensed. Examining it closely, they realized it was a map, not of the mansion, but of the surrounding grounds, marked with red circles at several spots. The discovery reignited their spirit of investigation, calling them to venture beyond the mansion's walls. Within another book, they found small notations that hinted at places in the gardens where, according to Margaret, childhood treasures were hidden. Margaret described secret games, concealed passages behind hedges, and windows tucked away by time. The trio divided the clues and set out into the overgrown backyard, searching not only with curiosity, but also with a new sense of kinship with the girl from the past. The tall grass made the hunt difficult, but their determination outmatched every obstacle. Each find, no matter how small, fueled their hope and sense of adventure. They finally unearthed a small tin box beneath an old oak tree, right where the map indicated. Inside was a blue stone necklace, a handwritten note filled with longing, and several photos of smiling children, one of whom was undoubtedly Margaret. This simple act of rescue deeply moved them, so much so that they sat together in the tree's shade. The mansion, once feared, now appeared in a new light, not simply a place of mystery, but one where innocence, love, and friendship had stood the test of time. There, the friends made a silent vow to never forget what they'd found and to care for every treasure, memory, and story they uncovered. As they returned inside Everwood Mansion, the trio felt a mix of exhaustion and fulfillment. The artifacts recovered from the gardens became part of the emotional collection they carried, adding new depth and meaning to the story they were slowly assembling. Along the hallway wall, walls, beneath layers of dust, Emma noticed almost faded carvings, marks possibly made with nails or knife points. Deciphering these words required effort, but soon they realized they were messages left by children who had lived there decades ago, sharing their dreams, hopes, and fears. When Michael read one particular phrase, "We are never alone when we hold on to good memories," he shivered, feeling as if Margaret and those other children were silently watching their journey. The isolation the mansion once imposed now gave way to a sense of presence, an invisible exchange between generations of dreamers. Their quest for answers led them to the old basement, a place that even the town's adults approached with caution. Lucas, bravely, suggested they investigate despite the darkness and the musty air. Each step down the staircase let in less and less light, replaced by the weak beams of their flashlights. The cramped space was crowded with wooden boxes, rusty tools, and items forgotten by time itself. Emma stumbled upon a heavy trunk in the darkest corner, and working together they managed to lift the creaking lid. Inside the trunk they found family documents, a locket engraved with the initials M.E., and a yellowed newspaper clipping telling of the disappearance of a young girl, Margaret Everwood. Confronted with the reality behind the stories, the children felt a wave of unexpected emotion wash over them. The newspaper clipping revealed details that until then had lived only in the children's imaginations. It described Margaret's mysterious disappearance on a stormy night and her family's desperate search, as well as the community's mobilization. Michael read aloud sections describing neighbors having seen lights on at midnight in the mansion and hearing voices coming from the garden. Lucas instantly wondered if something more might still be hidden outside. Yet they all felt the growing weight of the story seeping into the present. Their empathy for Margaret's fate shifted the adventure's original purpose. Now it wasn't about finding treasures, but about giving voice to someone long forgotten. With teary eyes, Emma suggested they gather all the items, letters, the diary, music box, necklace, and locket, in a single place as a tribute to Margaret's memory. The group chose the mansion's main living room, arranging each piece carefully atop the old oak table. There they offered a silent tribute, sharing words of gratitude and respect. For the first time, the mansion's quiet wasn't an emptiness, but something new, a space for recognition, a rebirth of a forgotten story now beginning to blossom again. Feeling lighter, the three friends understood that by diving into Everwood Mansion's mysteries, they had discovered a link to the past, values and emotions that had survived both time and fear. The long afternoon, once driven by adrenaline and daring, now ended in an atmosphere of accomplishment and calm, as if some of the old house's sorrow had been eased by their simple, heartfelt act of remembrance. What the children found went far beyond Margaret's fate. They discovered the importance of listening, caring for, and honoring the stories that shape us, even stories from long ago. After their silent tribute in the mansion's main hall, Michael, Emma, and Lucas sensed the house slowly revealing small signs of gratitude, as if the weight of the past was gently giving way to a lighter atmosphere. With the afternoon drawing to a close, they decided to make one final round through the rooms, this time with a changed perspective. Instead of searching for unsolved mysteries, they looked for overlooked details, small objects, newspaper clippings, letters, and children's drawings tucked into wall corners. Emma found an old picture frame fallen behind a bookshelf, protected from time and dust, showing Margaret beside a mischievous-looking dog. Inspired, Lucas discovered a recipe notebook marked with lists of favorite cakes and ingredient sketches drawn in colored pencil. Piece by piece, the legacy of a family was slowly being restored through remnants of their daily lives. The trio realized that their true investigation was internal as well. The courage they'd shown in the face of fear gave way to compassion as they confronted the fragility of human stories. The mansion, holding so many memories, reflected back the nature of people themselves, bearing scars, joyful memories, and traces of nearly lost happiness through the rush of time. Sensitive as ever, Emma suggested they each leave something of their own behind, a token of gratitude for the lessons learned within those walls. Michael took out a painted stone his grandmother had gifted him and set it atop the mantelpiece. Lucas sketched a message of hope on the last page of Margaret's recipe notebook. Emma left a letter addressed to Margaret, thanking her for the silent teachings. Their farewell became a ritual of generosity and respect. Each child forged a new bond with the mansion, feeling less like visitors and more a part of the the invisible storyline that had spanned generations. Out in the garden, before leaving, they once again sat beneath the old oak tree to recall the day's events. Amid laughter, reflection, and deep silences, they realized they would never see the house in the same way again. The experience made them more attentive to the presence of the past in every corner of the town and to the beauty hidden in forgotten details. The mystery of Everwood Mansion became a lasting invitation to find value in things and people all around them. When the time came to leave through the mansion's gate, the sky was already streaked with orange. On the walk home, the three friends strolled side by side in quiet companionship, carrying so much more than material discoveries. Lucas, with a shy smile, voiced his wish to write their adventure down so other children could learn about Margaret and her family. Emma dreamed of illustrating Margaret's diary, bringing every memory vibrantly to life. Michael, glancing back one last time, promised himself he would never forget what they'd learned or the courage that arose in every choice. The impression that stories never truly die, only lie in wait to be rediscovered, followed the friends all the way to their doorstep. The trio knew that from that day forward, Hillsbrook would never seem ordinary again. Every corner, every old house became a possible stage for new stories, filled with both mystery and tenderness. What had been an ordinary summer turned unforgettable through discovery and connection, strengthening their friendship. And Margaret's memory became for them a lasting reminder of the need to listen, welcome, and cherish all that enriches us as human beings. Time passed, but the memory of their adventure at Everwood Mansion remained vivid in the hearts of Michael, Emma, and Lucas. With the summer days drawing to a close, life in Hillsbrook resumed its routine, though for the small trio, everything felt transformed. Now they carried with them a more sensitive and appreciative outlook for the everyday wonders life offered. Inspired, they encouraged their classmates to explore old stories and appreciate the secrets hiding in the overlooked corners of their town. Michael, still marked by the courage he'd shown, became a reference point when it came to conquering fear and pushing personal boundaries. Emma, changed by the discovery of the diary and letters, felt a renewed connection with her own family, a newfound appreciation for memories she once found unremarkable. Lucas developed a fondness for writing, filling notebooks with phrases and drawings inspired by their most precious summer moments. On clear, starry nights, when the friends gathered to talk, the memories resurfaced with vivid detail, as if they were reliving those days all over again. They shared laughter over their wildest theories and recalled the butterflies they'd felt, exploring each shadowy room of the mansion. All they had experienced, solving mysteries and unearthing fragments of lives past, only strengthened the bonds between them. Often, they longed for those challenges and the deep emotions that came with their discoveries. To their eyes, Hillsbrook had transformed into a world of endless possibility, where every abandoned house and ancient tree hinted at adventures still waiting to be lived. The experience at Everwood Mansion not only solved the lingering mysteries of the family who once lived there, but also opened a new chapter of friendship and personal growth. Michael learned to treasure the stories his grandmother shared, realizing how small details could hold powerful lessons. Emma grew closer to her parents, listening to their childhood tales and nurturing a sense of respect and admiration for family ties. Lucas, already captivated by riddles, began creating his own tales of mystery, inspiring other kids to invent adventures and seek answers hidden all around Hillsbrook. Over time, they each discovered that the greatest adventures can be found in life's simplest things, so long as one dares to look beyond the obvious. The months that followed were marked by a renewed sense of community and belonging. Moved by their journey, Michael, Emma, and Lucas led a school project to tell Margaret's story and the history of Everwood Mansion, drawing in classmates and neighbors to help rebuild the collective memory of the town. The project grew into a small exhibition open to the community, displaying the items found, old photos, testimonies, and drawings with pride. This initiative sparked an emotional revival, not just for the three friends, but also for the town's older residents who came to see the mansion no longer as an object of fear, but as a place of nostalgia and reflection. The old fears, once handed down from generation to generation, gave way to new feelings of respect, gratitude, and curiosity. The impact of that experience went far beyond the mansion's walls and that single summer. The trio grew, each following their own path, but always carrying the lesson that beauty and meaning are often hidden in the unexplored, whether in a forgotten house, a cherished memory, or a true friendship. Whenever they reunited, even years later, conversation always made its way back to that magical afternoon in Everwood Mansion, a memory now serving as their wellspring of courage, gentleness, and camaraderie. Michael, Emma, and Lucas learned forever that the best stories are those that shape us and remain alive, echoing quietly in every choice, every dream, and every step along the way. Thus, Everwood Mansion, once marked by silence and unresolved mysteries, became a symbol of the transformative power found in small discoveries and the courage to face the unknown. The very walls that for generations had inspired fear found new meaning, shaped by the curiosity, empathy, and generosity of three children who dared to listen and preserve the voices of the past. The echoes of that summer lingered through every street in Hillsbrook, inspiring others to look beyond what is merely visible and seek meaning in the shadows, in smiles, and in the forgotten memories of long-lost places. The true inheritance of the house was not measured by the objects unearthed, but by the lessons shared, the importance of honoring memories, making room for empathy, and respecting the stories that live in every home, even those hidden beneath the dust of time. The bond uniting Michael, Emma, and Lucas outlasted the adventure itself, taking root in the understanding that every mystery lives not to provide final answers, but to chart a path towards self-discovery and deeper appreciation for others. The days spent wandering those silent rooms became a mirror for their own lives, encouraging them to cultivate new memories and new stories. Margaret Everwood's memory, once faded by the passing decades, was now preserved in every act of kindness, every shared recollection, every curious glance cast toward the unknown. And so, life continued, enriched by the certainty that true beauty lies in the meeting of past, present, and future. For outside observers, Everwood Mansion still stands imposing, enigmatic, holding within its foundations far more than secrets. It keeps lasting lessons of courage, empathy, and love. Perhaps that is what truly makes a place unforgettable, when it finds a home in the hearts of those willing to listen to what lies beyond the silence.